because a lot of us have not learned how to draw boundaries.
Yeah, that's
until
right.
we're forced to.
Yeah.
We're either forced to by illness, we're either forced to because we're burnt out, or they no longer need us.
Another episode of Kingdom Women Talk, where we encourage, validate, and empower women to do life. Today we're going to be talking about boundaries. Just draw a line in the sand already. We keep going back and forth. I say one thing, then I change my mind. I talk to this one and I tell this one nothing. This one come talk to me about the same, then I change my perspective. We just sometimes can be all over the place. But when do we draw a line in the sand and say, this is what I want to happen, or this is what I'm not willing to do, or this is what I don't want to happen? Is it easier said than done?
It is, because sometimes we have like a guilt feeling when we draw a line in the sand and we attempt to stand on what our boundaries are set at. And when we try to enforce that, it's not always received well, of course.
Yeah.
So when that happens, then it almost makes you feel like, there's a sense of guilt there, that should I be saying no? Should I have this boundary there? Should I, just lift it just a little teeny bit, draw back just a little bit? And no, whatever your decision is, go with that and stand on it. That way people understand that they have to respect what it is that you have drawn the line on, and where you stand where that's concerned.
Yeah. I think that's it, respect.
And I think for me that has been a hard, that's been hard, because I think being a single mother, even before being a single mother, raising brothers and sisters and being a single mother, I didn't know where to draw the boundaries.
Oh, what, between like being the caregiver and being the big sister?
Exactly.
Okay.
Being the caregiver and being the big sister. Then I turned into a mother. So now I'm a caregiver, I'm a mother. And then when my mom got to a point where she wanted to take her role back, there was some like, wait a minute, you ain't been a mama for, how old is that youngest one? So as I aged and now I have adult children, I did have issues with drawing boundaries and saying no. Then grandkids come. There go where are my boundaries? Where is my line in the sand? Do I have to get to the point where I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of saying yes, no, I'll do that, but on the inside I'm like, no, I really don't want to do that, but I'm doing it anyway, because a lot of us have not learned how to draw boundaries.
Yeah, that's
until
right.
we're forced to.
Yeah.
We're either forced to by illness, we're either forced to because we're burnt out, or they no longer need us. We're no longer needed.
That's good. That's good right there.
So then it's like they sort of give us a boundary.
Because you don't have there's no other, it's like you're on a dead end street, right? There's one way in, one way out. You don't get to choose. It's just like, this is what's happening. So that
the boundary has
been
set for me.
Yeah, that's good.
So but I will say, as I have been growing in my walk with God, and the Lord has told me my assignment here is up. So you can stay here and be disobedient.
Right.
Here we go with being obedient again. Or you can set some boundaries and draw the line yourself. And so the line is, I might be living here still, but nope, them are your kids. Nope, them are your dogs. Every now and then, I might help out. But
Right.
Cooking, cleaning, nope.
See, that is hard to set the boundaries because I think genuinely we just want to be a blessing to people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We want to be accommodating to people. So oftentimes when we're drawing that line in the sand, there's a no involved. Either I don't want to, no, I'm not going to. There's some type of no. And you're right, guilt can come because especially when you're having those face-to-face conversations and they right here in your grill, and then it becomes the puppy dog eyes, and then it's sad face, and that emotionally weighs on us. But we have to get to a place, one thing about walking this walk with God, He does not want us to be compromising in that regard. If He's told us something that should happen, should not happen, He expects that we are going to draw the line in the sand and be able to stick to that and not waver. But oftentimes what we find ourselves tossed over here, tossed over here, tossed over here, and then we are wondering why prayers are not answering. We're wondering why, the Lord is having stern conversations with us. We're wondering, and we're like, because we can easily convince ourselves it's the Christian thing to do.
Yeah. And I've ran into that in, speaking with people, and they seem so overwhelmed with tasks and things that they have to do day to day, but they're not setting the boundaries, even with their own children that are adults. We're not talking about small children that are adults. Not saying that you can't help your children out or if they need assistance with something here and there. However, there still has to be a boundary set or else you'll become a crutch. They won't ever learn the lesson. They won't ever learn to lean on God and trust in God for themselves if you're always there picking up the pieces and putting it back together for them.
Because you become their God.
Absolutely.
Right. We don't want to
become, you become God, the ATM, the babysitter, the caregiver, the this, the that. Because you've always said, speaking on me, I've always said, yes, sure, I'll do that, knowing I'm tired. All right, I'll do that, knowing I'm tired. I know I want to say no, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm looking at, for me, it's like, okay, if I say no, but they gonna have hard feelings, or
sometimes there's true repercussions in that regard, right?
Yep, they gonna get mad and stop talking.
People be ticked. You tell them no, and they think you should be saying yes. They mad. They ain't talking. They gonna avoid you. They gonna, not like they answer picking up your calls. There's a lot that goes into it. So you gotta be ready for the backlash that comes with the setting the boundary.
You have to be ready for when you start giving the no's.
Yeah.
Oh, she thinks she all that now. I remember you remember what?
Right.
She used to say, or even at work, we don't set boundaries at work.
Because then you're not a team player.
Exactly.
You're not a team player if you set boundaries at work.
Right.
But it's likewise at home.
Right.
If you set boundaries at home, then you're selfish.
Right.
Right. If you set boundaries with your siblings, then you the black sheep. Right. So there's
ever since she started going to church. She done changed. Now she's saying no when she used to say. People.
Yeah.
People in their flesh. People who don't know how to set their own boundaries. Want to instill on you their needs and wants and desires because we've always catered to them.
Yes.
We've always been codependent to them. And so now when we say, you know what? No, I'm tired of doing this for you. It's your turn to start doing for yourself.
But isn't that a weight that comes off? Yes, I have found that when you finally can get I tell people all the time, I just said this Thursday night, I was talking to somebody. I said, you got to learn how to get a no thank you in your spirit. Right? Because everything that you're invited to, you're not supposed to be there anyway. But you will run yourself ragged trying to meet all these different events when really draw your line in the sand. Or sometimes you got to get a thanks but no thanks in your spirit, right? Where you can be like, I appreciate it, but no thank you. Because oftentimes people who give stuff away, they'll be like, oh, this is nice for you. This is nice for you. You got to be able to be like, that's nice, but no thank you, I'm good. Right? Because all you're going to do is re-gift it. Tell truth, shame the devil. Right.
Keep it 100.
You're gonna re-gift it, or it's gonna end up at the thrift store, right?
Keep it 100.
Because we didn't want it from the beginning.
Right.
We took it graciously. Call ourselves being gracious rather than drawing the line in the sand. So we are bending over backwards, and that's not what God wants us to do. He really wants us to be able to stand for righteousness and be able to be obedient to Him, whatever that looks like in our lives. But then it becomes how? Because it took me a long time to be able to do that, because I always thought people was going to be mad. If I don't do it, they're going to be mad. If I don't do it, they're going to be mad. But where do I find myself out? Stressed out, overwhelmed, trying to figure out the things I needed to get done was not getting done. Because I'm so busy doing this for that one, helping this one with that one, doing over here.
Right.
And finally, I think my line in the sand just came out of pure frustration. It was more of a, I'm sick of y'all. Don't ask me do nothing, which was not the right tone. Right?
Yeah.
I wish someone would have been able to say, hey, you just need to be able to set some boundaries.
Yeah.
You're overwhelmed. Looks like you're overwhelmed. But I didn't have anybody to be able to tap into me like that and say, it sounds like you're overwhelmed. Have you considered setting some boundaries? Right? You don't have to be all things to all people.
Right.
You don't.
But then when you do set boundaries, you still have those small group of people that try to test those boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's where the true is. I'm going to stand on this. Am I drawing the line in the sand? No. No is a complete sentence. No. Am I going to
She
stand
said
on
no,
that?
it's a complete sentence.
Or am I going to waver?
Right.
And what does the Bible say about someone that's wavering?
Toss to and fro.
So some people know, like I always tell you, don't look them in the eye, don't take pity on them.
That's what the Lord told
Just
Gideon. Don't look them in the
don't look 'em
eye.
in the eye,
Don't take pity on them. Just take them down.
Just take them down.
Because when you
so-
do look them in the eye, it hits. And then, you know what? Maybe that made me think about, that's why we got so many text bullies now.
Yeah.
People would tell you anything over text, but face to face, they can't muster up the words. Right? They would say, nope, I'm not doing it. Don't ask me no more. But if you said the same thing to them face to face, they'll be like, let me think about it. Or yeah, I'll help. And really don't want to.
Right. Even when you say, no, you don't have to. No, I'll do it.
How about that when I have also found that it was challenging, in my early younger days, I found that it was challenging to draw a line in the sand because we felt obligated. So like if this one help you do something when they call upon you, be like, dang, I don't really want to do that, but she just helped me do so and so, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
But I think that's different. I kind of think that's different.
How so?
Because I don't think that that's like a boundary. If someone has done something for you, you're just reciprocating the kindness.
You could, however, when I know I'm not supposed to anyway.
Well, now, then that's different.
Yeah, because
Just-
the boundary is that it could be, and in my particular situation, I already knew I wasn't supposed to go to that event, because you pray about it, and the Lord's like, no, you don't need to go to that event. And so, but then, I felt obligated because that person always supports.
Right. So you were disobedient, and now
Because the fact of your heartstrings be saying
Yeah.
they're always there, they're checking in, they're doing this, and blah blah blah. So you feel like I need to reciprocate.
Right.
But then this was my younger me. I wasn't giving any thought to what God had said. I was more pulling to what I could see, the tangible person who was saying, "You're not gonna come."
Yeah.
Not even for a minute. You can't just stop past. I would love to see you. So what you do, you mosey up, put some clothes on, and you stop past for a few minutes, knowing you shouldn't have been there anyway.
Right.
And they get us like that all the time.
That's true.
That's why we stay busy going to all these church functions. It's always something. And do we pray and ask God, should we be at all these functions?
But what about even setting boundaries when it comes to serving, even serving in the church? Being at every,
that's really good.
When we're serving, Sister so-and-so, I know you serve on the such and such ministry, but we got a need for such and such, and we thought of you, we've seen your work, because, like I do hospitality, and we just thought maybe you could help us out on the, with the service assistant or the ushering for a couple of Sundays, that you're not in hospitality, and you say yes. When you want to say no.
That's true. I think in all things we have to have boundaries, but I think also what came to mind is relationship boundaries. We struggle sometimes with setting boundaries in our relationships. When it comes down to people that we really love, it's difficult to be able to say, that's not what I want. That's not how I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be talked to like that. You can't handle me any old kind of way, right? You're not going to treat me like I'm your mama. You can't talk to me like I'm one of your children. All of those are boundaries, because boundaries also set the standard for how we want to be treated.
Yes.
Right?
So true.
So when we don't do that, we're saying, you can handle me any kind of way.
But do you think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier? How we identify or how we see ourselves?
Oh.
Do we see ourselves worthy of setting boundaries?
I think it does, because sometimes we feel like, we kind of sometimes deserve, what it is that we're getting or what we're receiving, so to speak. So yeah, it does have to do with how we see ourselves. Once we get a glimpse of who we really are and what we really are, not just in God but in the natural too, we do take a different stance,
right?
And we do begin to voice for ourselves how we should be treated and what we will tolerate and not tolerate. But on the other side of setting the boundaries, we also have to be okay with allowing the person that we're setting the boundaries towards, or the issue that we're setting the boundaries towards, to go through their process of emotionalism of what we've just delivered to.
Oh, wait. You're talking about adult tantrums?
Yeah.
Because they just received the revelation that we're not going to be moved.
Right.
So we watching the adult tantrum.
Right.
So from the onset of your delivery or what you're stating to them, don't be taken back by what you received. Allow them to go through that. Give them the grace to go through that. They'll be okay.
And the first 2 times is a little rough.
Right.
Because it's like children, when you say, no, you can't have the cookie. Will they come back 5 minutes later? Why can I have a cookie? No, you cannot have the cookie. So 1 or 2 things happen. They're going to come back again to wear you down, or you're going to stand your ground. So it works the same way when we're interacting with adults.
Absolutely.
And even especially in relationships, because of course people want what they want.
Yeah.
So they're going to see if they can wear you down. But I believe that the Lord is saying that we got to be able to stand for something. Like, what are we standing for? That line in the setting boundaries and drawing the line in the sand is really saying, what are you standing for? What are you willing to say? Enough is enough. Or I'll go here, but I'm not going across the street. I'll drive here, but that's my stopping point. And how did you... I guess is there anything that makes it easy? Did you find anything in your journey that makes it easy to set boundaries, or a little bit easier?
No, I mean, I think it's really a part of growth too.
Yeah.
So no, it's not anything that would make it easier. When you're, saying what you have to say, it just has to be said. Now, it does matter how you say it.
Oh yeah.
Of course, it does matter how you say it, but what needs to be said, it has to be said.
Yeah.
And just watch your delivery on it. That's all.
And I think it's harder on both. It's harder on the person that is setting boundaries, because now you're struggling with, I want to, but no, I said I'm not going to. Especially if you've done it for years and years and years. And like you said, if you've got adult children, well, they're adults now, and if you've been doing it since they were kids, that's hard. And then it's hard for the persons that regardless of how we're delivering it, sweetie, no, I'm not going to do that. Baby, I told you no. It's still hard for them to hear the no. Because we've been saying yes for so long. And so it's it's a growing period for us both.
Yeah.
And somebody at some point, we both have to be mature enough to say, you know what?
Yeah.
Mama means what she says.
Yeah, she does.
And I have to be mature enough to say, they gonna be all right with my no.
Yes, because when they was younger, we
Yeah.
would say, don't ask me again.
And they didn't.
And they did, right? So that was the boundary.
Yeah.
Don't ask me again. I'm not going to tell you again. Though that was us setting the boundary.
And
But
was a no come back, but
no.
or if it was, why? Because I said so.
Right.
And that was the end of it.
Yes.
Well, today we've been told, that's different. Okay. But why? Because I'm not.
Right.
I'm not, no, I don't speak Spanish, but I think it's nada, whatever it is. No.
But that's a good point, because when we set boundaries with people or let people know where, what we're willing to do we even owe an explanation?
No.
Because we're in this time where it's like everybody wants to know the why. Like, well, why? Okay, you said you'll take me to the store, but you won't pick me back up. Why? It's not a thank you for taking me. It's almost, I'm ticked off that you won't take me and pick me up, right? And I now want to know why. Why can't you do both?
I think that's a sense of entitlement.
Right.
Yeah, thank
because
you.
The expectancy is when they ask, can you take me? They don't ask and bring me back.
No, you're right.
They
It's an
just say,
automatic.
"Yeah, you took me, so you want me back."
True.
You're right about that.
I got one now.
That's true.
Can you take me such and such? Okay. But if I don't say, how you going to get back, they don't ask, because the expectancy is, well, aren't you going to bring me back?
Like,
But no, I hadn't. You asked me to drop you off. Drop off means just that. Drop you off.
and then when you say you're not, it's now here it comes.
Right.
That's the tantrum piece that's coming.
Well, I wish you had told me that before you said you was going to take me. I really didn't say I was going to take me. You asked me.
Correct.
Would I? And I said, sure.
So what happens when the shoe is on the other side of the foot and we're the ones throwing the tantrum when we get hit with the boundaries?
Yeah, I've done that.
I've been through that too.
I've done that, and I had to go back and apologize. And say I'm sorry that I reacted that way. I understand what you're saying.
I'm guilty.
And
Mine was just a simply, oh, well, I guess you mean what she said.
No, but what happens when it's the other
That's
way?
what I'm saying. When the boundaries has been set up, like somebody says, nope, for me, okay, I guess they mean it. Have I tried them? Yep.
She told me something. Yeah. And also it depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
Some people you're just like, okay, and then there's others you like, what?
yeah,
You're not going what? You're not gonna do what? Right? So you're right. And then that's when, you have to have the apology. Yeah. That's we don't like that either.
No.
We like to set the boundaries. We don't like to receive boundaries.
Right.
Because it feels like you're telling me what I can and cannot do, but really you're just telling me where your safe space is. I'm comfortable with this, not an inch more.
yeah,
You're just telling me where your line in the sand is,
it.
and I said where my line in the sand is. And we can agree to disagree agreeably. Okay, I don't like it, but okay.
Right.
They can say I don't like it, but okay.
Right.
And it's like you said, we have to give each other the grace of, if I'm throwing a tantrum, throw your tantrum, you'll be all right. If they throwing a tantrum, you'll live, you'll be all right.
Right. So drawing a line in the sand is a respect thing. It's all about where is your boundaries that you set, and others should respect that.
Yes.
Right? And be able to safely move in there. Now, the other piece of it is that when you receive boundaries, then now you have to reciprocate. And now you have to respect their boundaries and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And not try to sabotage it, because that's what we do when we say, well, come on, or you should. You sure? We're sabotaging at that point instead of just giving them the freedom to be okay. Now, as we close, I believe that the Lord wants us to be able to establish boundaries and establish them safely, right? Some things that we have set boundaries for, we shouldn't. We just need to grow up.
Yeah.
Right? It's a safety mechanism. It keeps us safe, right? But sometimes God is trying to pull us out of our comfort zone. And then sometimes boundaries need to be reset, right? The same boundaries you had as a teenager should not be the same boundaries you have now in certain aspects of your life, because growth needs to happen. All right. So we encourage everyone, examine your boundaries, but whatever they are, draw your line in the sand. Make sure they align with the purpose that God has on your life. And also, don't be quick to adjust them, slide them, or move them for the happiness of someone else. People gonna be mad about whatever they're gonna be mad about. You gotta know that you are doing what God has asked you to do, and that your boundaries should be respected at all times, right?
Right.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Kingdom Women Talk. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our Facebook and our Instagram page, as well as our YouTube page. Also, share that others may also join in the conversation. Until next time, we are Kingdom Women Talk, where we encourage, validate, and empower others to do life. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.